We would now like to honor our valedictorians and salutatorians. These students have strived over the past 3 years to achieve the highest marks in all subject matters. Please join me in welcoming our valedictorians, Eric Von Ruden, Jake Bowen, Gabby Gersher, Taryn Cleek. And our salutatorians, Lily McCluskey, Austin Mertens, and Wyatt Neave.
Our board members, and I want to give a very special thanks to our teachers and staff for making this unusual year the best experience possible for all of us students. To my fellow graduates, I want to congratulate all of us on finishing middle school, our last chapter until some of the most important and exciting years of our lives, our high school years. We've all made so many memories from our first day of 6th grade down to our last day of 8th, and it has all culminated to this point in time. For me, my realization that middle school was almost over was around the end of May, just a few weeks ago. I went to write the date on one of my English assignments, and after I finished typing out the numbers, I realized that instead of May, I had typed out March without thinking. This got my mind going on about how slow the hours went by every day, but how fast the weeks passed by. These past 3 years at Magnolia, whether minutes felt like hours or weeks felt like seconds, I think that my time at Magnolia was very well spent. These past 3 years have honestly been some of the most transformative for me. I mean, that's what middle school's for, right? Finally outgrowing that one hoodie you wear every day and realizing that those pants weren't as cute as you thought they were in the 5th grade. Sometimes when I go back and see pictures of myself on my first day of 6th grade, I can't decide whether I remember that morning in 2018 like it was yesterday or whether I can barely remember who I was back then. I walked into Mr. Knapp's first period math class a completely different person than who I was when I walked out of my 5th period elective today on my last day of 8th grade. I will never be able to thank my friends, my family, or my teachers enough for every little thing that's helped me to get to where I am. Speaking of teachers, I for one have had some amazing teachers in the past 3 years at Magnolia. There are so many teachers I could talk about right now as my favorite, from Mrs. Malsum to Mrs. Daniels to Mr. Knapp. But the one who has helped me through my middle school experience the most is none other than Ms. McDonald. We first met in 7th grade when I was a tech aide in the pit and her robotics class was in the computer lab. So we talked about random things and became friends. Flash forward to the first day of 8th grade when I walked in the door to science where she said, and I quote, "Hey cheese and cats girl, what's up?" From that moment on, throughout my 8th grade year, she's been an amazing teacher and friend to me. And from our morning group conversations to our in-class inside jokes, all the way to singing Taylor Swift while moving classrooms. I'll forever be grateful I got to experience her class even through a pandemic. And I'll always remember all the memories I've had with Ms. McDonald and at Magnolia. Again, I would like to congratulate my fellow class of 2021 and welcome my good friend Taryn up to the mic.
Hello everyone, my name is Taryn Cleek. I am honored to have earned the valedictorian title over the past 3 amazing middle school years. When I first arrived at Magnolia in 6th grade, it was definitely a step up from the simple life of elementary school. It was a bit of a struggle for me, but there was one teacher that I felt really helped me, and that was Mr. Bars. Math was one of my weakest subjects, but then it became my best subject. He not only helped me become the best student I could be, but I also had a great time in his class. As a matter of fact, he was not just a great teacher, but he was a pretty good basketball player too. Sometimes at our lunch break, he would play knockout with us, which was really fun, not only because it was basketball, but because beating him was fun too. This was just one of my great experiences at Magnolia that I will never forget. Therefore, during this insane surprise of the COVID pandemic, that experience has also taught me to never give up, no matter what life throws at you, and to make the best of it. As Winston Churchill once said, success is not final, failure is not fatal, it is the courage to continue that counts. However, now it is time to close this chapter and open the next one. Now we will be going into a new chapter, high school, that will be comprised of some of the best and happiest moments of our lives. Thank you and congratulations to the class of 2021. Now welcome Jake.
I would just like to acknowledge and appreciate the weird new things the Magnolia staff had to put up with to make this school year as good as possible. It has been a pretty crazy year. I couldn't pick, so I chose two of my favorite experiences at Magnolia. One of these times is when COVID took over the world, and we had to do the 7th grade Zooms. I know most of you didn't know these existed, but they were fun, and Mrs. Booth made those times at home very entertaining during tours. My favorite time is when we had to do Midsummer Night's Dream over Zoom. It was just a few people, but it was fun, and everyone got a bunch of different and ridiculous parts. It really helped me get through the rest of the year when COVID-19 took over the world. My other favorite experience in school was going to the geography tournament. It was something new and funky, but it was cool. I studied pretty hard from some notes from previous years, and you know what? It didn't help much, but it was still a great time. It taught me that not everything works out awesome and perfect, but you can still develop appreciation for having had the opportunity. I would also like to say I love you, Mom and Dad. And welcome my friend Eric.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Eric Bonner. I think that we can all agree that the last couple of years have been real crazy. There have been countrywide power shutoffs and worldwide pandemics, but we've made it through all of this. I know it may seem that the world has fallen apart, but this has all shown us that we can persevere. This applies to the students, but also the teachers. Over all my years at Magnolia, I've made a very sizable list of favorite teachers, but there is one that stands out to me the most, Mr. Smith. Believe it or not, I had the honor of being in his class all 3 years here at Magnolia. And let me tell you, he has done so many things for me. I could talk all night about the great support he provided, but then no one else would get to speak, so I will hunt it just down to one. Mr. Smith, I appreciate you opened up the wood shop at lunch and before school so that we could get extra work done, which was especially important when we didn't get to choose wood shop as an elective in 8th grade due to COVID. So thank you. Now, flash back to one of my favorite moments in 6th grade, and who could ever forget, science camp. Bearing in mind that 6th grade was my only real normal year I've had at Magnolia, it was definitely the best part. We had a whole week out by the beautiful coast where we got to go into the redwoods, go tide pooling, hiking, exploring, and just being ourselves. I am deeply disappointed that we could not do the Renaissance in 7th grade or the Washington, D.C. trip in 8th. But with that said, I still had an amazing middle school experience, and I can't wait for high school. Now please welcome this year's salutatorians. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, these people only received 1 B. Please welcome Wyatt, Lily, and Austin.